want to start today's show a little different than normal, on a little bit of a more serious note. And we're gonna, after I'm done, we'll go to a commercial, and our guest Bill Kennedy will be on. But I just I wanted to start out by saying, this weekend, starting on Sunday, going through Monday, Tuesday, myself, along with some of my friends and colleagues here with Citizens United and all, including their families, were, verbally abused. Also, a lot of threats were sent through the internet, on the social media, and all those things. I just want to make a quick statement on that. It's fine. We're fine. And I understand when we get close to certain things, people are going to lash out, and I get it. But I will tell you this, it doesn't stop what we do here, and it never will. We'll continue. If there's things we find as corruption, we'll call them. If there's survivors or victims out there that need help, we'll help them. And it doesn't matter who the people are that may have hurt them. So, threats and everything else are fine, but it won't stop what we do. And that's all. I just want everyone to realize that the show will always go on, no matter how threatened or intimidating you think you're going to be. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Bill Kennedy.
Hello folks, I'm Kevin E. Alyo, candidate for the Niagara County Legislature, District 11. I want to invite you to a one-of-a-kind, only, official virtual town hall on Thursday, 17 June 2021 at 7 p.m. Ask your questions, get your answers, become an engaged and informed voter. Learn the tumultuous political legacy of Niagara County. If you don't know its history, then the question begs, why be a candidate or even vote? Learn more online at Niagara District 11 Kevin.org. That's Niagara District 11 Kevin.org. I'll see you there.
A judicial election is not about political affiliations and party politics. It's about the right experience and qualifications. That's why Dominic Saraceno is the best choice for Niagara Falls City Court Judge. Dominic Saraceno is the only candidate with over 20 years experience as a criminal defense attorney and public defender. He understands how his decisions will help individuals and families and has the courage to address the important issues in Niagara Falls and to make the right decision, even though it may not be the popular decision. On Tuesday, June 22nd, vote Dominic Saraceno for Niagara Falls City Court Judge.
Hey, Western New York, CJ Spiller here, telling everyone to watch Gold Getters live every Friday at 6 p.m. where they'll give you up-to-date sports info. It's a great show, so be sure to leave your comments below. You like how I rhyme with that?
All right, we're back with Citizens United as usual on a Wednesday night. You see who's next to me? Councilman Bill Kennedy. How you doing?
Hello.
All right, doing good. Let me introduce everyone else who's here, though, because they have open mics, by the way, so they can just say whatever they want, whatever they want if they want to ask you a question. But Wade, of course, you're here doing what you do.
I'm doing what
Producing.
I do. How are you guys today?
Good.
All right, is that
All right.
Charles Woodson?
Oh,
It's 34. It's Bo.
Bo.
It's Bo.
What you
Sorry,
know
but I
about
saw
Bo?
two.
Robin's
Jackson
here
jersey,
doing
yeah.
her sharing and everything she does and monitoring the Facebook message board. We don't have calls, but we have message board questions if they want.
For sure.
So Robin, you do what you're doing. John Fidel's here, who is my co-host on Goal Getters, who probably, I think this is where Bill probably should have come on. Because the talk we had before the show
Yeah, we can make another.
was yes, John, we need to have him on. And our first time ever is Wade's wife, Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How you doing? She's here. Glad you get to see the place. So, all right, Bill. Let's talk some. First of all, no. Let's do a little bit of something. Justin Fields, my God.
Oh man.
As you are a Bears and Bills fan, you're a Bears and Bears and Ohio State fan, but you went to Ohio State, so
Yes.
you're beyond just a fan. You're an alumni.
Oh, well, I'm super excited. I mean, there's the negative stigmatism out there that no Ohio State quarterbacks ever pan out well. I truly feel that this is a different athlete. This is a different animal at quarterback that came through Ohio State. He's a leader, two-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year in 2 seasons after he transferred from Georgia.
Right.
They actually only had a season because Justin Fields spoke up and said, let's make this happen. The guy's just a leader, and that is what the Bears lack. And obviously, probably the worst quarterback scenario in the history of any team in the NFL. And I really think that we have a great quarterback and a great person, a great athlete, but I also think that hopefully we can get past this quarterback hump of keep missing and missing and missing.
Oh my God, missing and missing forever, right? Our
I
whole
mean, look,
lives.
even if you look now, Dalton and Fields is already better than Trubisky, Foles. I mean, it's just.
Where's Foles gonna go? Is he gonna
I don't
leave?
know. I think. I mean, unless they're able to restructure, and I just don't see him hanging around.
I can't either. One last thing on the Ohio State quarterbacks. Maybe Haskins is going to break free this year. He seems to be saying all the right things, and boy, Roethlisberger loves him.
Well, I hope that's the case because I mean, when I watched Haskins play and I saw him play live as well, I was like, man, this guy's got all the tools. But you know how it is. You can have all the tools, all the physical ability, but if you don't have the tools in between your ears, you're not going to survive in the NFL. So hopefully he's in obviously a storied franchise, a great leader and a great soon-to-be Hall of Fame quarterback with Roethlisberger teaching him the ropes. I think if he gets on the bike again and pedals properly, he'll be fine.
Yeah, Roethlisberger said he could throw a football through a car wash and not get wet. And I thought, wow, and he was claiming how hard he's working. And I thought, this guy, it might have been I loved him. I mean, I loved him at Ohio State. I mean, he was tough. It was everything. I mean, yeah, I hope so.
I thought he actually took it to a whole nother level. You watched J.T. Barrett throwing all those touchdowns, but it was like Haskins was like, "I'll run you over."
I know
it was like, "I'll run you over. I'll throw a 50-yard dime."
Yeah.
It was like nothing. So I'm glad to see that and hear that he's doing better because he really is something that they can work with going forward.
Definitely. All right, there's the sports talk. John, you know what's going to happen on Friday.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know already, so.
Yeah, Bears talk, John. Get ready. Get ready. Anyhow, all right, you're a city councilman, and you've been for how long now?
This is my 4th year, last year of my first term.
Oh my God, I feel like you've been there 10 years or 20 years. Do you feel that way?
I don't because there's a lot that's gone into these last 3.5 years, but
wow, I can't believe I'm still shocked. I really thought this was I don't know why. All right, this was your second term.
The thing is, I have really tried to do my best and look at every single item, every single issue, every single conversation as its own item and do what's in my heart to do what I think is best at that very moment.
Right. Now I want to ask you, this is going to be a little fluffy question, but I'm dying to know.
Okay.
What would you say this whole time? Because now you're leaving. You're going to you're running for the county legislature 6th district.
Yes.
We'll talk about that
Yes.
after. So, what would you say the biggest accomplishment is as a councilman?
I think honestly, the biggest thing is the resolution I put forth to change some of the parking rates, and although it was met with a little bit of pushback from a couple of the council members, it has, even though obviously minus COVID, prior to that, the 2 prior years, it was record amounts of revenue coming into the city. So the good thing is that will continue to keep going well after I'm long gone. So to me,
Right.
that's millions and millions of dollars that have been coming into the city because I took the initiative to actually try something. I said I would be out in front of it. I said if I was wrong, I would take it all on my shoulders. You could scream, yell, rant, and rave at me,
Right.
but it's been nothing but successful. So that to me was one of my biggest things. And although sometimes there's a couple other things that I've done that maybe aren't, so like, storyboard or newsworthy, I put forth a resolution to protect animals. I think that's a tremendous thing that we needed to have. I've got one coming out at the next meeting that's going to address the dirt bike and ATV use throughout the city and on city roads. I think that's going to be something that'll at least get us started
Right.
to correcting the situation that's currently out of control. I've always stood up for our residents, our workers, our unions. I feel that that's something that I was born into. Like I was raised in a union household, and I've stood up for the working family, especially the way that the bloodline of Niagara Falls is.
Right. Right. Another one. Another question. Another fluffy one.
Okay.
Biggest disappointment being on that council.
I think the fact that as much, let me separate it into probably a couple different little
Yeah.
categories or even years.
Sure.
I feel that the council majority, my first 2 years and the council majority my last 2 years, I don't think either majority has really done a whole lot. I mean, yeah, there's things that you can highlight, but I feel like we never ever really meshed, and we never ever really truly worked together to make everything better. It was always about who's going to get credit for this, who's going to do this, and I can't stand that. And then you'll see, I'm sure you have seen many times where either I've said it at a meeting, been quoted in the newspaper, and Niagara Falls is full of petty politics. Niagara County is full of petty politics. If we get away from petty politics, that's when this county will start thriving.
Yeah. And I always thought, Bill, that no matter there's 48,000 people, whatever it is, there's a lot of money here. There's huge money. I mean, Goat Island's huge money. There's a lot of people outside of here that have like big time interest in the
sure.
money that is the revenue that the city obviously doesn't get, but they do. And that's why I always thought you guys, councilmen, mayors, it's huge. It's not like some people don't take it seriously. Like that's the thing that drives me nuts, because I always think of the money that is available here, along with the tourism and everything else. It's big time money, maybe on a little city, but geez, corruption. The possibility of corruption is just it's there because there's so much money.
I thought, when I first decided to run, like I wanted to stop erratic spending. I wanted to get in and stop corruption, and I was thinking like, well, I know I've seen it, I've heard it,
Right.
Been told the stories. Then you get inside, and then you look and see what's going on behind closed doors, and it's even worse than I thought when I was running.
Oh my God.
So when you can't get things done, or somebody's ego gets in the way, or whatever the case may be, it's disheartening. And that's another thing that is disappointed, is that there hasn't been a whole lot of development, and there hasn't been a whole lot of things that should have happened. I mean, even something as simple as the carriage house, that could have been protected. It wasn't. The state didn't do what they were supposed to do. But then it's like, oh, it was too far gone, let's not worry about it. And then the next windstorm, it's in shambles. And, I tried to do what I could to help, and then we ended up with the care house out there on the in DeVoe Woods.
Yeah.
And I asked for some of the other remaining bricks and some of the other things to be put into different monuments on the edges of the park, and at least there was something. It definitely wasn't what we wanted, but at least there was something done. There's a lot of things that if I had another 4 years on the council, I would have tried to champion, but now I'm just going to try it at a different level, because I'm still going to be going for the seat that represents Niagara Falls.
Right. Yeah, no, I am with Bill Kennedy, and you guys know him, City of Niagara Falls Councilman. The only thing that's different now is he's running for county legislator, the 6th district of Niagara Falls, of course. Dennis Virtuoso. There's only been 2 guys in my lifetime, Arthur Schoen and Dennis.
Yeah.
And you got, man, they were almost like icons, big time.
Big
here.
shoes to fill, and I'll be the first to say that I am not either one of those gentlemen, and they both did a fantastic job in the seat for the city. Mainstays, cornerstones, however you want to look at them, they're icons for that particular district. And it's funny when I've gone door to door, and people are like, "Do you have pens?" Dennis gave us pens, and I said, "Well, I said not yet, but when I come back, I will have pens for you." I said, but the big thing is I explained to them, I'm not Dennis. I'm not going to be Dennis. I will try to mimic his success, of course, but I will do what I can as myself. I can talk to Dennis. I can learn from Dennis. He can flat out mentor me if he would be willing to, but I still have to do what I think is best for whatever scenario arises at that time if I'm elected.
Yeah, Dennis was you're talking, that's old school politics. I mean, he knew what to be. He's one of those guys, you're going to be where you got to be.
Yep.
He's always where he's got to be. He'll always call you back. The whole
I'm
deal,
actually honored to be running for his seat. Like, that is my grandfather, rest in peace, but he loved Dennis. And for me to be able to run for Dennis's seat, I wish he was here, but I know that he'll be looking over me.
Yeah, and that's like my dad. My dad loved him. We lived on 4th Avenue, so we were right in it, right down the street from Mount Carmel. And my father loved the guy, And so, when I heard it was up, and it was sick, and he had to step back. I was thinking, I go, man, I'm not in there no more. If I would have been, it would have been weird, because I don't know if I would have wanted to try because of that, because you knew, and thinking about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get off of that.
Sure.
There's some. We'll get back to the county though.
Okay.
I want to talk about some stuff that's happening in the city right now. Maybe not right this second, actually it is. But there's one of them that isn't. That was maybe a little bit ago. Remember the $46 million that was spent to do the visitor center on Goat Island? Okay, we all know about Goat Island, and just whatever. We get nothing.
Right.
But the thing that bothered me was watching something, and I just want to get your response, not response, but what you think, because I watched the mayor, I watched the assemblyman, I watched the senator on TV. They were very, very happy. I mean, you'd have thought they were being awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. I mean, they were high-fiving and hugging, and I thought, man, you might be a little miserable right now if you represent Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel, when you...
I'm not against the visitor center.
Right.
You should always be evolving. You can't, have the same thing. I mean, look at the Discovery Center. I mean, it's sat there. But I think, one, it should be in a different location, and two, do we really, really need it right this second when we're facing so many different obstacles? Right. Like, again, I'm all for it. I think, start branching things out so that you can have a little bit of a map where people go, hey, I'm going to stop at this spot, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to see this attraction, I'm going to go over to this. Or even if you start at that visitor center, put it somewhere where it's going to, funnel people through the attractions, the aquarium, the falls, if the Discovery Center were to ever open,
Right.
whatever the case may be, just funnel that through. But I think, $46 million could be spent on a couple other things that we need versus things that we want right now.
And I'll tell you, hidden gem, the aquarium, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
I mean, unbelievable. Every time we're members there, and every time I go in there, I think sometimes I don't even feel like I'm in our city.
They have upgraded it.
Yeah.
There's Gary that's running the aquarium is fantastic. His vision is fantastic. His new team and the people that work for him love working for him. So there's a whole new pep in the step and a whole new vision down there. And when you walk in there, everything's modernized. Some people, I think, maybe years ago were like, I'm not going back there, it's the same old thing. It's not the same old thing. If you haven't been to the aquarium anytime recent, you should definitely go and check it out.
Yeah.
Because it really is, it's top notch.
Well, you'll see, a lot of times I'll do some Facebook Live stuff there, because that's my wife. It's like outside, the water, the seal, Sandy, the seal, everybody, and it's so calming. It's like liquid Xanax there. You could just stand there and relax
Well,
at
now
all
they're
times.
putting the plaza's going to be in there. You
Yeah.
might see some outdoor events, activities for the kids, maybe a band or two to bring some the
That'll
tourists
be a
as they're
good idea.
walking.
Wow.
I think it's
Yeah.
everything's going to be set up, sound, lights. It's going to be nice.
Bill Kennedy's with me. You know him, City of Niagara Falls councilman. Running for Niagara County Legislator, 6th District of Niagara Falls. All right, next question for you. $59 million is coming to the city. I'm going to ask you two things. First thing, I watched the mayor with Jackie Walker, and he talked about fixing City Hall infrastructure. I'm going to ask you first, what does that mean?
We need to get congruent with the times that we're living in. That really is something that's necessary. I think the software, the computers, all the things that would make normal business happen simply is not happening. I mean, you're talking stacks and stacks of papers of things at City Hall. The big thing for me is for our police forces to upgrade their systems. That is something that is a desperate need. But yeah, it is necessary, and it's something that I've actually mentioned in one of our council.
Do they still use Have a guy drive them?
I have an envelope with the red string given to me
That's
2
great.
days ago.
Has the federal government given any outlines on what? Is there something that can't be used that you guys hands are tied on?
I haven't received a list of the how it's supposed to be used, or what the logistics are, or the requirements or non-requirement things you can't do. I haven't been privy to that if there is, but once we do know that, I think you're going to see some nice improvements in the city.
Well, yeah, because now well, I was thinking about it. Obviously, some of it's got to be used to balance the budget.
Probably, if it's allowed.
If it's allowed,
If it's allowed, it's all contingent upon what they allow us to do.
Could something like that, let's say this money that's coming in, could something like that help the future council maybe do something with the garbage fee, like maybe lessen it? Because I know they can, right? You guys can do it. It's not a tax.
It can get changed. I mean, I really hope at some point that it's a revenue stream. Sometimes when you think about what has gone on, I personally didn't want to send 70+ families home, especially public safety and DPW workers, our union workers. I didn't want to do that. It was it's a tough decision.
Not your choice, man. You got to make a choice.
But the thing is, I was willing to make a choice.
Right.
That was, it's not
not popular.
Not the best.
Yeah,
it's not popular.
No,
and it wasn't the best solution, but
Right.
it was a solution. We
Yeah.
didn't have, the year before, I voted against it. A lot of, one of the candidates for legislature says, I'm the only one that voted against the garbage fee. That's not true. I voted against it, and it went down. It got shot down because I voted against it the first time. The second time, it was, okay, we can't keep doing concessions. We can't keep doing these type of agreements. We have to do something. I don't want to have another, you don't want to reach the tax cap. You don't want to get, so again, I'm willing to make a tough decision. I've proven that. I've actually been willing to make tough decisions and stand by myself. I have no qualms with that whatsoever. I will do what I think is best.
Robin, something on Facebook?
Yes, we've got a message in the message board from Blake Lemoy. He said, I want to know what we're doing to kick out the criminals and address the declines in companies, jobs, and population decline.
Oh, my.
Well, I can honestly say that, the administration, the council, just like we've said many times, we're very aware of the crime issues. I held a press conference a couple of years ago. I held a summit with all the leaders of the different departments. Came up with a lot of different things. Now you're starting to see the sheriff and the state troopers and different parks police coming in and helping us, because if we don't have a full staff, or there's a zillion different issues going on at the same time, we need help. We can't do everything. So at least I've done and tried to do that. Now, God's honest truth, with me being basically a lone wolf on the council, it's tough for me to get anything done unless I really, unless my colleagues are like, yeah, that's really a great idea. Because again, it becomes, well, it's Bill's idea, so we're not going to do that. And I would hope that that's not the case, but unfortunately it is.
I was thinking, one thing that always bothered me, and you never said this, when some would say it's on the citizens. They're the ones that have to fix the crime. They have to fix it. Now, I understand, people see something, say something.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say something, though,
Sure,
if
because
you're in the middle
now
of
that they've changed, I forget what the name of the act is, but basically now it's, if you do something or report something, your information is available to the person
insane.
that you want to talk about retaliation. That First of all, the bail reform could be the worst piece of
Right.
legislation in the history of the state of New York. That's just my opinion. I'm not,
Right.
but I think it's terrible.
Right.
To me, you've put the cuffs on the police officers, and you basically told the criminal or whoever committed the crime. Maybe it wasn't even a criminal act, but whatever it is, you've let them back out. If they're not of the right mindset, they're going to go out and do it again.
Well, I got a perfect example. In front of my house the other day, a little bit ago, my new car is parked out there. Beautiful day, 12:15 afternoon, bright and sunny. Gets totaled. A guy just hammered it and moved it like 2 houses. I hit it. He buried it. When he comes out, he doesn't know where he is. He thinks he's in Buffalo. He's high. He's drunk, whatever. So they cuff him up and take him out. He has no insurance, so whatever. That's another kick in the groin. So then later on in the night, I happen to go outside. I see my neighbor, and we're talking for a minute because he heard the humongous noise, and we're talking. There's the guy. Here he was coming down the alley,
It's
looking
terrible.
for stuff.
I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
it's
it was
not
tough.
a matter of,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with the people that put that in place had to do with basing it on New York City. Well, this
Sure.
isn't New York City.
Yes.
Yeah. Our city is basically one section or one borough of New York City.
Yeah.
So for them to do that and make the whole state suffer, it's unfortunate. Hopefully we can get it reversed.
Yeah, and the only positive is I know violent crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't. At least it doesn't go to violent crime. What do you need? Man?
They-
Oh, hey, wait.
hey.
I know. I don't know.
There was my wife actually works at a jail,
Yeah.
and we just seen a case where there was domestic abuse happening, and he was released on the bail reform. Very next day, so there is
Yeah.
violence that is
Well,
being released.
You know what
that
else?
Next day.
You know what else?
Not even.
You know what else I found out with
Okay.
domestic abuse, which is kind of messed up. There's an actual form that's supposed to be filled out called the domestic incident form. And what's supposed to happen is the police are supposed to come, and that form's supposed to be filled out, and everyone's supposed to get a copy. Pink copy goes this one's, and it's not being done. And if it is being done, it's done so much later that I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, the people aren't getting it. You'd have to go down to the police station to get your copy. It's supposed to be done. It's a New York State thing. It's supposed to be done. We don't. And I asked. We asked. I know somebody. I can't say his name. Who called and asked about it. And man, they got nothing but a hard time from the police station. From someone whoever it is he talked to. And then finally, when he revealed who he was, then he got a little more information. On it.
Doesn't this seem like
that's got to be? Well, go ahead.
Doesn't this seem like both sides of the aisle agree here? Like
You would think.
there's
Yeah.
things that could be done. I've talking to Democrats and
Well,
Republicans.
yeah, and again, it shouldn't even be a Democrat.
We're back. Sorry for that technical difficulties. We're back on. Robin will be sharing it, bringing it back to where it's been. All right, we were talking about at the time. I think we were talking about the $59 million. If there's no, what if there's just no guidelines? What could you?
If there was no
What could you do,
guidelines,
or what you see
the
at?
first thing one of the first things I would want to do is to actually build a community center.
Mhm.
We've been talking about it. The citizens and the residents and the children have been, screaming and crying for it. We need things for our children to do. We need things for our families to do. Not just in the summertime, not just in the springtime. It would have been nice to see an indoor water park come in, kind of like Splash Lagoon or the Wolf Lodge. And I know a lot of times that got shot down because of whatever reasons from previous administrations. I think it would be fantastic. I mean, think about it. If you're sitting in the frozen tundra of Niagara Falls in January and it's -5 degrees and then it's -20 with the wind chill, and you can go into a building and there's sand or there's water and going into a swimming pool in a hotel is different than going into a wave pool or a slide or. Not too long ago, I went to Splash Lagoon. A friend of mine asked me if I would go. He was bringing his guy. Yeah, I'll go with you. We had a blast.
Right.
But it's unfortunate you got to drive an hour and a half and spend the money there.
Right. Yeah. No.
So we need attractions, and that's what I think needs to. I know there's a few people that have said they wanted a Ferris wheel downtown. At this point, I'm willing to bring in anything that's going to be an attraction.
Because remember the community center sounds great because I just knew but geez, I was doing it all the way through high school and even part of college, going to night gyms, playing basketball all the
I used to
time.
do it all the time.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day how I used to go. I was a church youth counselor at Sacred Heart, but when I first started, I was a student, and then I got my confirmation, and then it was I had
Right.
enjoyed my relationships and the friendships that I had, that I would literally, I wanted to keep going there. And that was like, we'd go to Sacred Heart, we'd play volleyball for a little while.
Right.
Then we would start class. Then when class was over, we would play basketball till, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's what's missing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I just think I can remember going to Gaskill, play,
Yep.
whatever. And then after that, I could go to Hyde Park if I wanted, down the street, because it was earlier for the kids and then older for the older kind of adults. Now those days are probably never coming back.
Even
but-
a handful of years ago, before I ran for office, I was going to LaSalle Middle and playing
Right.
volleyball. And just having fun. But that's what we're missing. We're missing attractions. We're missing opportunities for the kids to be involved, to for their parents to know where they are. Like
Yeah.
if my dad or my mom or anybody in my family was wondering where I was, they knew it was Monday night. Billy's playing volleyball or basketball at Sacred Heart. You didn't have to worry about me. You knew I was there.
So now, any way, I don't know if you know this or if they've already discussed it, or if you could tell me, any idea where they want to put it? This community center?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think first and foremost, the one that was taken out from the Highland Avenue
Yes,
area,
right.
that would be the first.
It would be
That
the
would be the
place.
first place I would like to
Right.
put one. But
Yes.
I'm agreeable and amicable to any ideas or solutions. That's what we don't have a lot of in Niagara Falls and Niagara County is people have all these ideas, or they didn't do this, or you voted no against this. But what's your solution? What are you
Right.
going to fix? How can you fix it?
Yeah, we've got to move on to another. It's now a pretty big issue, and it's been, and I've dove into it because everyone's talking about it's STRs, short-term rentals.
Yep.
It drives me nuts because I have looked into it. I really have. I've done research myself, but I can. Everything all right, Rob?
Mhm.
You good? All right. And so I try to go out see what other communities are doing. I see Atlanta right now is having a big fight over it. Really similar to what's going on here. It's like a real battle,
Yeah.
and because they don't know what to do. It's like this all over the country.
Well,
right
and the
now.
thing is, I mean, it really shouldn't be a battle. There should just be, there should be a common ground. Yes, there's going to be A, B, and C on this side, but on this side there's going to be X, Y, and Z. Find that, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, whatever.
Yeah.
You got to find that middle ground.
Right. You know what? Let's take our commercial break and come back on STRs. We'll take that break, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, and we're back. We're back with Ohio State alumni, Bears fan, and City of Niagara Falls councilman, as you guys know, and running for county legislator in the 6th District of Niagara Falls, Bill Kennedy. We were talking about STRs before we left, and they drive me nuts because I think of it, and I'm reading like I said, Atlanta was really it was just yesterday.
Mhm.
I mean, they're worried about party houses.
Yep.
And I get it. I do too.
I
Yeah.
certainly understand. There's so many
yeah.
ins and outs and, hemming and hawing of different issues, and I completely get it. But when it really boils down to everything is, what's the difference between a short-term rental and a long-term rental? Especially, I'll give you a perfect example. My dad lives in DeVoe. That whole neighborhood has become nothing but college house rentals.
Right.
So if somebody's living there for 30 days at a time, or you're still dealing with all of those same type of issues. So if a short-term rental is considered 28 days and a long-term rental is considered 30 days, why is there such a discrepancy in
Right.
all of these different things? However, the ordinance that's been proposed, I don't have an issue against the ordinance. I think it's got teeth, it's got things.
Mhm.
We obviously need enforcement. We lack enforcement. We need to start getting better at that. They put the moratorium in place to stop people that are doing it legally by getting their permit and buying the things. And to me, that's stopping free enterprise. I'm not, like I said, I'm not against the ordinance at all. I'm against just picking a bubble and saying this is where all the
Right.
short-term rentals are gonna be.
That's the thing I want. That's probably it, right? Because we all agree, if there was, if you find out you have over, and I don't know I don't know the number. Let's say you just had 300 short-term rentals that are not, I don't know what you'd call them, illegal or something.
Yeah,
They're
well,
gonna
there's
call
some
them.
of well, that's exactly
Yeah,
it.
there,
There's
right?
a lot of illegal operating short-term rentals,
And we know them,
Airbnbs.
right? We know where they are.
A lot of them we do know where
Yeah.
they are, but we're not doing anything
can't
to
get 'em.
enforce them.
Yeah.
Why, where are the citations? Where are the pulling of the permits? If somebody's a bad apple in the bunch, get them out of the basket.
Right.
Like it's really a simple process as far as that, but we're not doing that.
My biggest concern with the, there's more concerns than that, but this is my one in my head, with the zone,
Mhm.
the zone. I saw the zone. We're in the zone,
Yeah.
and I saw the zone. And the zone, I'm concerned, like, why? Like, if there's a lot of, I feel like there's something I'm not seeing, because there's a part of that zone that is really kind of close to where you might want to be. You know what I'm trying? And
Sure.
I wonder.
There's quite a few things
There's
that are in that
interesting-
zone that concern me. There's also a couple things in that zone that I certainly understand why.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, first and foremost, it's right there. It's in the tourist district. It's where the people come to see
Yeah.
the falls and they want to stay and be in the hotels or be close to the attractions. Certainly get that. But when you have housing that is, 4th Street, 5th Street, 6th Street, that where are those people going to live? How, if they can't afford the housing that they live in right now?
Yeah, they're done. Yeah.
Where are they going to go? You are going to be pushing people into even more poverty than they already have, or homeless.
But they're talking. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Absolutely, they would.
It's-
Yeah. There's just no way around
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
reality. The thing
Yeah.
is that if if you have certain areas that are dilapidated and there's buildings and things that are all boarded up, I would love to see some of those buildings that people have their signs on become an active property.
Right.
Increase the tax rolls, sure. None of this is going to be really, really, truly helpful unless the state changes the bed tax laws for the short-term rentals so that we can actually capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Then have, hey, put it right here and we're getting money from it, sure.
Right. Right. And they're going to force them. They have to go to Airbnb, because I know there's other brokers out there, but they're forcing them.
Multiple
which I thought
platforms
was
out
kind of a little weird to make them have to go to Airbnb. But okay, they're going there. The bed tax is a whole other story. It's low. It's too low.
It
It's
is,
way
but the
too
thing
low.
is some of these...
Well, we'd like to get it,
yeah,
yes.
but we can't even get it from
I know.
the short-term rentals.
It's so damn low, though. I'm sure you've done this. I look around at other bed taxes and other places, huge.
Absolutely.
And I think to myself, why are we? Was it 5% or 6%, and then part of it, one of it?
And we would be
For the
even
trolley.
if we got 1 or 2% just to start.
Yeah.
That would be great. The other thing about this particular ordinance that I had asked about when I met with the administration is that, again, all for the ordinance itself. To me, it was, let's see a scheduled rollout of the different sections of the city.
Right.
At least for, all right, so I'm running for a position that's a particular district. Well, maybe you start with this one, then you start with District 2, District 3, whatever. However,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just using numbers, but, roll it out in DeVoe, roll it out in LaSalle, roll it out in Highland, and if you're gonna make bubbles in every area of the city.
Right.
That's all. It doesn't have to be necessarily open,
Right.
but schedule something. Put something in writing that other people can say, hey, in 6 months or a year, maybe I'll buy that house I was looking at on Crescent Drive or
Right.
whatever, and say, hey, I'm gonna turn this into a short-term rental. But we're not doing that.
Now, I gotta ask you something, because I don't even know if this is happening. Is there a public hearing coming up on January?
Yes.
And it's about changing, this is what I think it is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, planning board rejects something, we want to now change it to where it doesn't have to be a unanimous vote?
Well, that was already voted on.
Was that already done?
That was already voted on.
And
yeah.
that got changed? I
Yes,
assume.
so instead, and you know,
And
like
that's
I
okay.
said, that, like I said, that part of it, I just, if
The timing's
99.99% of the time, when you presented that to me in a, you know, just a scenario where it's like, you always have to have a unanimous vote, or you have to have a supermajority, where, like, you know, where in
Right.
America is it always gonna be unanimous? I can agree with that. The timing of it to me stunk, so I voted against it. But, the very bottom line, when you think of, again, this whole entire ordinance and how it's being presented, it got shot down by the city planning board and the county planning board. Who am I to say, yeah, let's override their, now I understand they're advisory, but if
Yes.
they're advisory, they're advising you not to do this.
Right.
So to me, it was, who am I to
Yeah.
say, yeah, let's override them?
Right.
So, I always tell everybody, I represent the entire city. I don't represent one little group.
Right.
So it's, now obviously, positions are different, still gonna represent the entire city, whether I'm, you know, if I'm elected and I'm representing, you know, District 6, I'm still gonna do what I think is best for the city of Niagara Falls as a whole.
What's going on June 23rd? There's a public hearing for, what is it then?
Well, the 21st, I believe, is Monday.
Monday, okay.
Basically, it's going to be the open forum of speaking, like the new ordinance or the edited ordinance is coming forth with some more of the different language and some of the things that have been talked about. And you're going to be able to talk about the pros and the cons of the ordinance and basically let the council and the administration talk about anything that needs to be changed, and then it'll get voted on. And actually, if things go okay and it's presented and taken care of next Tuesday, then at our meeting Wednesday, more than likely it'll get walked on.
Oh, all right. Another question. Because I'm just confused by what happened here, and you can clear it up, I know, because you were there. The ice rink, what happened that night? Because I'm confused
Okay,
as to what happened.
that was another very difficult decision. So many people contacted me saying, you know, how Gene and Mike had done a wonderful job, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've been there many times. I went to see multiple events. Jay Hill and some of the other guys that were working there were doing great things. You know, Wayne Gretzky was there. I mean, there were lots of things that I saw. It was like, wow, this is really wonderful. Now, I did not know this until maybe like 24 hours prior to the vote that there was no contract. So the contract had expired, and they put it out for, you know, request for proposal for bids. And the 5Js had what was scored as the best proposal. Now, me being, you know, knowing multiple parties that were involved, and as a councilman, I had to remove myself from knowing who did what, and say, by proper process, I felt that if there was no contract, we had to have something there for us to do it. And unfortunately, I voted with what I thought was proper process.
So now what happened? It went back?
So but we changed a couple of the words of the sentences, where at that time, the word said to enter into an agreement. And prior to the meeting, I had spoke with my colleagues and said, maybe we should table this because there's a lot going on. This says it's going right into an agreement. There should be a negotiation of the contract, and Councilman Soda had said, let's change this from execute to negotiate, and I thought that was a great idea.
All right, so I was curious. Now, I'm here with Bill Kennedy, Niagara Falls City Councilman, and he's running for the 6th District Legislature. You know, last thing before well, you know what? Let me ask this real quick, because we talked about it one time on a message board somewhere. Mr. Richardson was killed in like 2019 Christmas time.
Yep.
Ever since then, it's like, and I hate to say it this way, it was like kicked off an incredible run. To think about, I mean, right there, it really just started where all of a sudden, you know, we know the numbers. I ain't gonna say it no more. 2020, 2021. I don't know, man. Is there anything? There's nothing you're gonna do. I mean, I know that. I know there's nothing. I mean, I understand. You know, I bitched and complained. I thought the mayor should say something. Someone say something, and that's only victim related.
Sure.
Not related to like going to. They're not. I know they can't solve crime. They don't know that.
Well, I went to school with Mr. Richardson's kids, so I know the family, and you know, I was there, you know, for the vigil, and it's a horrible, horrible situation. You know, the string of violent acts that had happened over the past year and a half, 2 years. There's a lot of things that I guess maybe the citizens don't realize that I actually asked about, and I don't know what the numbers have changed with the recent murders and homicides and things that have changed, the latest ones. But about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, there were 19 arrests made on 22 of those cases. And I'm allowed to say that, and I actually asked if I could say that, and it was yes. There have been arrests made on a lot of those cases. Now, some of them, if they don't have an arrest, they're ready to be arrested. There are things that are going on. So I don't know about, like I said, the most recent ones. I have no information on whatsoever. I haven't talked to anybody, but our police force is absolutely fantastic. A lot of people will say, you know, the cops don't want to do this, the cops don't want to do that. That's so not true. I talk to them on a regular basis. I have friends that I've known my entire life that, you know, are, you know, some are being promoted. You know, I feel like a lot of the captains and the chiefs and a lot of the people that are put in the position now are good people, are good leaders, and I think our police force is going to continue to do a great job.
Are they being held back by the mayor? And the only reason I say that, I don't mean like to do their job, like to informing people, like to giving us more information about stuff. Because I'll tell you, if I watch, let's say, and you do too, you know, you're watching CNN, whatever, a national news, and stuff happens in a city, and there's a press conference, here comes the police chief, and he's able to talk to everyone, and there'd be reporters there that would actually be able to ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, we don't ever. I haven't seen a press. It just doesn't happen.
I don't understand why it's not happening. You know, I think the more that the public is informed and the more that the public feels they get a chance to actually talk to the superintendent and talk to some of the department heads, they might actually feel a little bit better about what's going on. Not that you're going to feel great about what's going on, but you can at least feel like, you know, I spoke with the superintendent or I spoke with the captain and they assured me that we're working on this. And sure, the mayor or the superintendent could say those things and say we're working on it. Of course we're working on it.
Right.
But if you actually have that personal conversation, or as a reporter, you're able to say whatever whatever is your heart's desire to ask at that moment, then you got your answer that you asked for.
Why won't, you're in there, and I don't have this, maybe you don't either, because you're not part of the administration, but the mayor has not had there has not been a chance for that. There hasn't been a press conference at all, like where he would be, like a normal mayor would do, and let whoever would have media credentials ask him questions. We can't ask anything. I mean, unless you just can't. There's nothing. There's nothing that can be done.
It comes down to there's a difference between structure and there's a difference between being controlling. And I think they're trying to have their thumb in on everything and controlling every conversation and knowing what's going on. That part of it's great, but there's certain personal relationships that you're just not going to change. So sometimes the department head should be able to have their own press conference versus the mayor hosting his own press conference all the time.
And he won't even do it, though. What I'm saying is the mayor doesn't even let you.
Well, he has, but he's having his own little announcements of his own on all the other stuff.
And it's not working because we can't ask him anything. The other thing is, too, the PIO, which I couldn't, not her herself. Obviously, she's a nice person, I'm sure. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with her. It has to do with the position. Sure. I hate it. I've always hated them, and I hate them in the county. You see what they are. Look at Niagara County. Who's got it? I mean, it's the Buffalo Billions guy.
Yep.
So, like, she's okay now. She's there. Why don't I have access to her? Why can't
you actually can contact her, and you can, and she's pretty good about responding to everybody. Again, just like you said.
Can I interview her? You think? Would they allow that?
You can ask. I can't say yes or no.
I know,
really don't. You ask. I'm guessing that considering your situation that he may not say yes. But,
he may say yes. See, that's a problem.
But it should be up to her.
Yeah.
But again, nothing against her personally, but
Definitely
a patronage job in the middle of a pandemic, I voted against it. I had an issue with it. We got a deficit. Yeah, we got to get information out there, but I think the way things were going, it was like everybody was sitting around, so anybody could have put information out there.
Right.
But from what I've seen and experienced, my conversation with her, she does a great job.
Oh, I'm sure she's confident. I'm sure she's really good.
Exactly. It's just The
just
whole,
don't like
the whole patronage thing and
Yeah.
creating a position when we're trying to figure out a deficit.
It was shot down before. I thought the other administration wanted one. Like
They may have. I don't remember.
I remember. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear I thought and then they said they were told no. But anyhow, anytime you hear public information officer, I remember in the county it was like Peck,
Yeah.
Christian Peck, and then it turned into the Buffalo Billions guy, and you just like think, geez, what is this kind of thing? But anyways, you know what? Hey, wait, you were there for this. I want everyone to see it. Councilman Vascio,
Oh yeah, let's throw that
real
up
quick. I
there.
just want to play this, and then I want to do
Thank you. It's very difficult to change a culture. And one of the ways we can help this generation and future generations reduce crime is if we can figure out a way so that we teach our children not to want to kill our neighbor's children. Because if we can figure out a way to do that, then Niagara Falls will be a better place, the world will be a better place, and America will be a better place. And just bear that in mind when people tell us that it's the council that we've got to figure out a way to change the culture. So we'll move along. I'm sorry.
Last time I gave that speech, it was, that's it. Can you have a civil conversation? Meeting adjourned.
Administrative update portion.
All right, we're back. You were there for that.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
I thought it was absolutely disgusting.
Right.
There was a 6-year-old child that had the guts to come and speak in front of everybody at the city council meeting. There were lots of people that spoke that night, and for him to say that the way he did, I told him right there in the meeting that I felt that it was a little bit condescending, because even I lived in some of the houses and some of the areas that a lot of these issues are happening. I lived in a house right across the street from Gluck Park, 1720. I lived right there. I've lived on 18th and Ontario Avenue. My family lived there for almost 60 years. I've lived on 21st and Ferry. I lived on 15th between Pine and Elmwood. You know, I've lived a lot of places all over the city. And for him to say that in a room dominated with African Americans that night, speaking their hearts out and spilling their guts, it was an absolutely awful thing to say. There are certain situations where, you know, you want to address those type of things. That's fine, but to me there was no tact. It was awful. I felt horrible for the people there. My blood started boiling, and I was just like, you know what, I have to say something, because after watching that, now he has done and said many things in our almost 4 years together, 3.5 years. Actually, if you want to count the campaign prior to that, even longer, because there were a lot of times where I saw him walking. When I was walking, he was on one side, I was on the other. It was like, you know, this guy's working hard, I'm working hard. There's many things he's done and said that I don't agree with. But I've never gone after him. I've never bashed him. I've never said anything negative. What he said the other night was disgraceful. And as a leader of the city, that statement was proof that he is disconnected from the people of the city.
Yeah.
Because that is that elitist mentality for somebody that's a millionaire that now wants to go for a $20,000 a year, $22,000 a year job. You ask yourself, why?
Well, you know, and that's the whole point what we were just talking about. Where the people, he'll say it's the people's fault. They have to take care. You know, I've heard it. You know, the people. He just told the people exactly what the people think. You know what I mean? Like, the people already think that going into it. They already think that that City Hall's not going to listen to me. Police isn't going to listen to me. Even the Board of Education is not going to listen to me.
Right.
And he just told you. You know what I mean? That's
The
kind of
thing
what
is
he did.
that when you say something, it's like, here's a solution, but we need a solution.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on. It's okay to talk about something. It's okay to vote against something. What is your solution?
Yeah.
Now, I look at some of the things that I voted for or against. I had a solution when I voted no, or the solution was voting yes on certain things. And to me, to try to represent the people of Niagara Falls, especially in the 6th district, which is crime-ridden, poverty-ridden.
Right.
You know, there's very few streets that are, you know, Little House on the Prairie type of,
Oh, yeah.
scenarios. And that's distraughting to me just in general because like I said, I've lived in a lot of these different areas, different districts. And to just put that out there, like, we got to stop, we got to teach each other or teach our children not to kill each other's children. Like,
Unbelievable.
how can you think that is okay? Even if you think that is not the arena that you say those words.
Never. No. Wait.
Mr. Kennedy has stated it perfectly. He's very, Mr. Vascio is very opinionated without the solutions behind it. We looked into his Vote Smart Facts Matter when he was out in Pennsylvania, and I'm sorry, bringing this up right now, basically just shows, should a license be required for gun possession?
Yeah, he says no.
No,
He says
but
no.
you see over here in this corner where he says undecided, should background checks be required on gun sales between private citizens and gun shows? Do you see the hypocrisy
right.
when he states that?
The
right
answer
there?
should be, it's...
What are his solutions? Very opinionated, Vascio, but no solutions to any problems.
Very opinionated. Oh, yeah, he's on... I know. No.
Well, and that's what I say. Like, when you look at some of the things that are going on in the county and in the city, it's, Councilman Boccio is a millionaire. People may not realize that. So, what does a millionaire want with a $12,000 a year job and now a $22,000 a year job? So, I mean, I don't make a lot of money, and I'm not in this for the money. I never was. That was it's nice that it happens, but then you have him saying, I'm the only councilman to take a 10% pay cut. First of all, it's not a pay cut. You gave yourself a deduction that you have now donated to charity, which you can write off on your taxes. That is not a pay cut. A pay cut is, I'm going from $12,000 to $10,000, and that's it. You guys keep the money. The city keeps the money. So even if that was the case, and you're saving $1,200 a year, I'll tell you what. I'll bet you in one day of the parking revenue that I proposed that there was probably $37,000 just out of one machine. Right. There's times where I've looked at the breakdown and a couple, like in one, there was one where we looked at a month's report. There was like almost $700,000 made in parking. That was like at a time where like we did maybe it wasn't a month. I'm sorry, it was like a 3-month breakdown or a quarter. Regardless, so when you're I took a pay cut. That is manipulating your stance on what you've done. That is not a pay cut. That is you're giving yourself a deduction that you actually can write off on. It's just, to me, to put that out there like a badge of honor is absolutely ridiculous.
Especially when you're a millionaire, right?
Right.
Honestly, like if I'm a millionaire, like I would love to, I would love to win this election, and the money that I get. But if I'm a millionaire, I'm going to be thinking about why am I running? All I want is power. All I want is my name out there running around with the big dogs. That's not what Niagara Falls needs. Niagara Falls needs somebody like me that grew up in the city, that knows the city, that can walk into any neighborhood and have friends and family and people that respect me.
And relate to their community.
And absolutely relate. I've been in unfortunately been in a lot of these scenarios that have been put forth by the residents.
And when we see, this is what one of his answers was in Pennsylvania, do you support imposing spending limits on state-level political campaigns? Well, of course you don't if this guy's a millionaire.
Well, yes, then you can just buy whatever you want.
Exactly.
And to me, again, I think party affiliation and petty politics at this level is just, it's not, the party politics, affiliating, you can if you want, but it's not necessary. They're just run for the people. Run for the people you're representing. I was raised in a Democratic household. I've also have family members that are Republican. I have my best friends are Republican. I have tons of things that I agree with Republican. But the thing is, I don't look at it as blue. I'm looking at blue versus red. I'm looking at what do I like? What do you like? What does the country need? What does the city need? Like for me, I hunt.
Yeah, you shouldn't take your own ideology into what you're bringing into the community because it could really harm.
For me, I belong to LaSalle Sportsman's Club. That doesn't mean that I'm going to abuse the privilege to hold a permit to buy a gun or whatever. But again, petty politics is it's just got to go. The county, the city, the country, you know, people just talking and screaming and yelling, ranting and raving. You know, they want to, you know, just push their agenda on you. And if you just had a normal conversation, it's like, you know, I'm a Sabres fan, he's a Leafs fan. We could talk about. I'm not going to sit there and go, you should like the Sabres, you should like the Leafs. It doesn't need to be that way. Like your team, support your team. I like my team, support my team.
Right. Now, you know, for anyone, I'm sure everyone knows, but if you don't, you got Chris Fascios taking on Tim Heather in the Republican primary as you wait for your opponent, right? And then that'll be in November.
Yes.
So, like, the next question that I have for you is just asking why. Like, what made you think, I think we already, this might already been answered, so why did you jump to go to the legislature and not stay on the council? Or what was the thought process for you?
I literally was going back and forth, you know, when I heard that Dennis was stepping down, and just so everybody knows, Dennis is doing great. He every time I talk to him, he's got a great, you know, he's doing fantastic. I was thinking, like, am I going to run for re-election? Am I going to, you know, run for county legislator? The first thing is that I live in Dennis's district, so that was the first thing. Being an elected official already and then stepping down, it literally just made sense. It wasn't like I sat there, I'm going to go run for legislator, but now I do feel that way. Like I want to do this. I want to honor, you know, my grandfather and Dennis's friendship, and, you know, I want to be able to hopefully honor Dennis, you know, by going for his seat. And I still, you know, there's a lot of things that I still have to, you know, learn and understand from talking with Dennis. There's a lot of things that I want to incorporate into what I've learned as a councilman as I take another step, hopefully take another step.
Right.
But it wasn't like an epiphany or anything like that. It was just just the way it lined up. I felt like, you know, maybe it was time for me to take another step.
Did you ever at any point think, though, that the council just I mean, it's got to be hard to be 4-1.
Sure.
To be that, so then it would be. I mean, I know you go to the county and you'll be also in a minority.
Well,
but,
depending on what happens in the
Yeah.
election, right now it's 10-5. So if, you know, if I were to win an election, and maybe we got a couple other seats, then maybe you see 8-7. You know, and that's not a bad
different.
scenario.
Yeah,
That can change the dynamic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all I'm concerned about is, you know, what I do and what I'm going for. You know, sometimes when you're at the door, you know, somebody I shouldn't say this. Or no, I shouldn't say it like this. But some of the residents will say, you know, what do you think about this? I don't like so and so, or I didn't do
Right.
this. And I did it in my first election. I've continued to do it in this one. Is that I simply say, I'm not here to tell you why someone is bad. I'm here to tell you why I think I'm a good candidate.
Right.
And that's what I'll continue to do.
You know, this is something off of the district, but it's in a different district, and I don't want you to say anything about the. I'm not asking about the candidates. 4th district, the nonsense that's gone on there with the guy from Lockport, that's scary. They talk about petty politics. There it is.
Well,
right?
and that right there is what the mockery of some of the people do not take some of these things seriously, and I actually heard from a friend of mine that was in a conversation with people that were involved in that, and they actually laughed and said, "Yeah, I did that."
Right.
And
Yeah, they love it.
that's bad. That's bad. That you have to try to do something like that just to fill your ego.
Yeah. And
99.99% of the issues in this area are all power-hungry, ego-driven people.
yeah, and it's going to. Well, maybe it won't.
The
I mean,
hypocrisy on what they
Yeah.
complain about in the federal elections, and now
Yeah.
opposing something like this, and if you don't see how it relates,
well,
it's eye-opening.
It's disgusting. I mean, you're in the 4th district. I was saying, and I kid, but I almost was going to do it. I was going to put signs up for Piscary. I said I wanted to be his campaign manager. Let me help you. Win. And let's see you move to the 4th district.
Right, because what if this guy just wants to come out here
Come on
and
and
fix
move down to the
things?
But
fourth
see,
district.
and,
Well,
but
we're-
find him a
the
house.
thing is that even though like we know the scenario now, I lived in the 4th
Right.
district, so
Yeah, me-
I'm
yeah, me-
18th in Ontario, so I've lived there. I know what it's about. I know the thing is, if you were to say, yeah, come on in, all they're concerned is that our guy or our girl won that seat and will now vote with us when we want something.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
And
That's what needs to stop. And I will tell you right now, the two candidates that are in the 4th district, I wish them both well because they're both good guys. And I just hope the people will speak with their votes.
do you think that was put there for one of the candidates?
Well, it could be. I can't say for sure. I mean, sure, somebody will sit there and go, "Oh, I'll do that, and we'll split up some votes, or we'll knock some of the votes away." I don't know that. I wasn't. I would hope again that somebody would just let a pure normal election happen,
Right.
and mano y mano and be done.
Yeah, I know. It's.
Well,
go
what
ahead.
this does, though, is the damage is already done. You
Oh,
can
sure.
state that you are now. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like
we can do it
Mr.
now.
Andres said, you wanted to sneak one up the middle. That was his quote. However, the damage is done. Pisari's still on that.
Oh yeah, he's not
line.
going anywhere.
Those
he
comments
could-
those comments were made to take heat off of one of the candidates. But
Right.
the very bottom line, well,
Yeah, no doubt.
the
Yeah.
very bottom line is that the two guys that I feel are running for that district are both two good men that live in Niagara Falls. And I wish, like I said, I wish them both, whoever the voters decide in that district, God bless you.
They just can't vote for that guy. And who would? Why would you? What is he on? The Working Families? Is that
Yeah,
what
it
it
was
is?
Working Families, yeah.
Who else is on? Is it him and are they all on?
Him and
Working?
Elder, I believe, right?
Is that who's on?
Elder's-
Okay. But what I'm saying, no one can vote for him. Who in the hell would vote for? I'm just saying. He should get 0. I mean, I don't know how many Working Families people there would be. There are 3.
Yeah, it just
And
depends
then-
on the district. There's, I believe,
Yeah, I don't
forget the number. Maybe there were 700 in the city that are working families. I could be wrong.
Right.
Probably am wrong, but in each little area of each district broke down, there's probably a good 70 to 100 depend.
Yeah, he
not throughout
only
the whole,
needing
throughout the
5
whole county is different. I'm just saying 700. I think in the city.
Only in his district, only needing 5% to get onto the line, he got 2 Working Family signatures, and that 2 got him at least that 5%.
Yeah.
A lot of things were changed because of the COVID, restrictions, and the numbers were dropped. And I'm actually endorsed by the Democratic Party, but I'm also endorsed by the Working Families for my run for legislator.
Yeah. That one there made me. But the thing is, it was a bold. It's what I say. It's bold. I don't mean that in a good way. I mean it's like I believe it's that feeling of like these people don't care. Who cares? I'll just do this because who's going to say anything? And it's yeah, we do care.
It's terrible.
You can see.
Well, we should care
Yeah.
because you're literally messing with what's supposed to be proper process in the United States of America. Like, since when do you just say, "Oh, I'm gonna," like you're coming from out of left field? Like, I mean, it's something as stupid as even if you were like watching a boxing match or WrestleMania or something, all of a sudden some guy
Yeah.
comes in and runs in and destroys the match. That's what's happening.
I know, and I keep thinking like, why not me then? I'll
Right.
just run for something in
Yeah,
Lockport.
exactly.
Mayor of Lockport. Here I go. I mean, can I?
Come
I
on
guess
in.
I could.
Well,
But that's what I'm saying. That's how messed up this is. I could have. The funny thing is, I'm not that smart in that stuff or pay attention because I never even thought that was possible.
Yeah.
I never thought. Did you? I never knew. Wait, I never knew that was possible that you could do
But
this.
but that's the thing.
Yeah.
This is even if you didn't know if someone like they look into this to see what can we do to thwart this particular.
political hackery.
It's
Yeah.
petty, stupid politics.
Hard time, man, getting rid of it. Hard time. I hope maybe.
I really wanted to believe that actually say that in the way that it was said was just absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah. No. Anything, guys? Anybody got anything over there? Robin, last anything? Anything you wanna?
I'm good.
You're
thank-
good. All right.
I'll
Wait.
say that one thing that we didn't bring up. I want people to go to votesmartfactsmatter.com or maybe it's .org, but Vote Smart Facts Matter. Google it. You can look up Chris Vascio, all his answers, and the guy it just doesn't stop with them. He has many things that just he He doesn't agree with what people want.
Well, we need
you
that
know,
here
what-
too, because you know what, the city of Niagara Falls is a place for marriages.
Yes,
it's a
and
place
should
for
not
this. Yeah, I don't.
Same-sex marriage
Yes.
couples be allowed to marry? Of course they should, but Chris Vascio says differently.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, it's
well, again, like I
it's
said,
archaic
to me,
stuff. You know,
there's a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
How is an elitist millionaire going to relate to the person that is on welfare that maybe has an addiction, or maybe somebody in their family is in jail, or maybe somebody has been put in one of those horrible situations or tragedies or scenarios. I didn't see Councilman Vocchio at Mr. Richardson's thing. I didn't see him walking in the Black Lives Matter protest.
Of course not.
None of that. In fact, I believe he was sitting at home saying he was ready.
wow. Oh, he was ready for.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what he's ready for.
Oh, you know what
I
he's
get
ready
it.
for.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. Yeah, he was ready. Well, he's armed and dangerous.
Yeah.
So we should probably do our final words, right? Because Bill just graciously stayed with us. Final thoughts, Robin? Anything?
Go Bears, go Ohio State.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
bear down, go
Yeah.
Bucks.
Right, John? Do you want to
Sure,
unleash
good
anything?
luck, Bill, and best of luck to you, and go Bills.
Oh, you see
Thank
now
you, I
we don't.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, go Bills.
No, that's fine.
I'll always cheer for the local team. I don't dislike the
can't.
Bills.
I know.
What?
I dislike the fans that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's
There's
what
a
drives me
lot of-
insane. Well, we won, blah blah blah. Okay, who's your starting quarterback?
Yeah.
That's the stuff I don't like. But most of the people that I do know that are Bills fans really love their team, really know their team.
Right.
But it's the bandwagon and the fans that really just want to say, "Oh, we beat you," and it's like, no, the last time we played, we hung 40 on you.
Yes,
so
we
don't
did.
do
I
it.
was there for that
I was
one.
at that game.
Yeah, I was too.
You
Yeah, my
guys
son
made it
was
out? You guys made it out of there?
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
Well,
because the thing is
we
that you
almost
can go
didn't.
and cheer for your team, just don't be a jerk.
Me and Andy were
Those
there.
that jump through tables. They're not
Me and
Bill
Andy,
fans.
my son, were there. Andy at the time must have been 16 back then, maybe 15. I don't know. We were sitting in the upper decks. I always like to sit up there so I could see the game. I don't want to watch it on a jumbotron, so we sat like front, 50-yard line, way up high, and Bears are killing them. It's great. We weren't even cheering. We just sat.
Yeah.
Just sat. Andy wore a Bears something. I wore a hat. We just sat. I figured I'm not gonna. No, let's just watch. Guy next to me flips out. Just flips out. There was a fumble that he said wasn't a fumble. The Bears returned it for a touchdown.
Yeah, Eddie Jackson.
Yes,
remembers that.
this guy lost his mind and started yelling at me and Andy and just screaming because we had a Bears hat stuff on, and then it was like, you know what? And we're getting kind of a little mad, and we decided, let's just leave.
Yeah.
Screw it. I'm out of here. I got home by the time the fourth quarter even ended.
Yeah.
By the time I got home.
Well, that was,
it was a beautiful game.
pick six. Peterman was.
Yeah. I know.
I was in the third row of a Bills game behind the one end zone, and it was Bengals Bills, and I'm a Patriot fan, wearing my Patriot jersey, and had all these old men trying to give me wedgies throughout the whole game. And looking back on it, I think it was John Fidel here.
Yeah,
Might have been.
So Amanda, thank you for being here.
Thank
What do you
you.
think?
Okay.
Not bad, right? I mean, we're kind of.
Oh, of
Good
course,
show,
I watch
huh?
it every week.
Hey, thank you. All right. How about Wade? Any last words?
Last
for the...
words, Mr. Kennedy, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And and that's the other thing was just to mention, because I know some things were pointed at Councilman Vocchio, but Tim Heater is a great candidate as well. And I wish, again, just like the other district, I wish him well. He's a mechanic for the city. He's a union guy. He's a family guy.
You're gonna go hard to beat him though.
Well,
if he wins.
you know what?
Come on, you gotta go at.
Tim and I are friends,
I know.
and I will. We've had this conversation
He
multiple
won't
times.
outwork you.
If he wins, I told him, I said, we're gonna go to war. I said, that's all there is to it. I said,
good.
you better work your butt off. I said, because no one's gonna outwork me.
Now, if Vascio wins, it's gonna be I don't care who wins, but if Vascio wins, boy, that's gonna be something for you two guys. And
And I've had the conversation with Councilman Vocchio as well. It's like, we're two ends of the spectrum.
yeah,
And he has different beliefs, and I have different beliefs. But we both know that we are both hardworking when it comes to going
Campaigning?
door to door
Yeah.
and campaigning. Things that I don't necessarily like that I saw was, he says he's preparing for he's out there going door to door for a general election as if Tim doesn't even exist.
Right, of course.
And that's, that's unfortunate. Hopefully, Tim is out there knocking on doors and
Well, that's the elite.
disputing some of the things that
That's the
that
elitist
Mr. Voccio said. Well, yeah, when you say
mentality, yeah.
I'm the only one that voted against the garbage fee, not true. I'm the only one that gave myself a tax, not true. Like, you're manipulating words. Stop manipulating words. Where are the solutions?
Well, we've had Tim on the show. We've had Bill, and of course, Mr. Voccio could come on. I mean, anytime. I would love to have him anytime. I'm sure he won't. Maybe he will. I'll reach out.
I
always
understand
do.
why you have to be polite, but
No.
I am hoping
let's-
Mr. Kennedy really wins this
definitely.
election
Yeah.
because I see where the other people stand. I see who are working on their campaigns, and it's uncomfortable.
I will. I hope you get him to come in here, and I will
hope so.
put this out there right now. I will gladly debate him anywhere.
We could do it right here.
Right here on
Right here would
Gorillas.
be great. Yeah, we could do a special thing. You know what I'm going to read?
Actually, obviously we only have a week now, but I would include Tim in that too if it were to happen anytime soon. But I'm guessing because of the time it will.
Yeah,
happen. So
right.
whoever wins that primary, I will gladly debate.
I'm going to read my numbers now. I think.
You sure are.
Yeah, here they are. Well, area code 716 if you're in the area. If you're out of the area, but you wouldn't because you'd call your own county because they're everywhere. YWCA. The YWCA here of Niagara region, 433-6714. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you currently are being sexually abused, you were sexually abused, you're a victim, you're a survivor, you're the family member of someone who was sexually abused or hurt in that way, give them a call. I did it myself, and I learned a lot because it's hard because when you end up having a loved one that was victimized like that, there's a mindset that you got to realize they lost decades of their life after getting it taken. When they're a little child and they've been abused, they've lost, sometimes they've lost 20, 30 years before it can be revealed. So call the YWCA, 433-6714. They're there all the time. There is counselors that are incredible. They'll counsel you right at your own house. They won't even come in. They just call you. Do it on the phone. They have Zoom calls where you get a bunch of survivors together and you can just talk with them because survivors seem to talk different with survivors. So you get them together and they talk because they know where they've been. There's advocates. They'll go to the police station with you. They'll go to the hospital with you. They'll do everything with you. I've learned a lot from these people, and they're great. And if you are outside the 716 area code, my wife, being a survivor, has talked to a lot of people, have contacted her from all over, and there's one everywhere. I mean, we connected someone to one in Ohio, and I can't remember. I wish I could remember the city it was. But we connected her.
Yeah.
And so they're great. And please, unbelievable, the YWCA. Don't forget about mental illness, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxieties, panic. All of that are real. And 1-800-662-4357. That's the number to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll connect you to someone here, I'm sure, locally, but also they're just there to hear you and listen. So don't forget it, man. Everyone's had those kind of thoughts. I don't care. You probably all have had anxieties. A lot of people have had thoughts that you don't, they're deep, dark, and man, you've had them. So call if you ever get there. And there's always someone there to listen. Bill, again, thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. And just one other thing for everybody that's watching and listening, early voting has started. So if you want to get out to St. John's, or if you're out in Lockport, a couple places in the county. So there are multiple things going on for a primary. Early voting now, and the primary is next Tuesday, June 22nd.
Now tomorrow, we have a special Citizens United at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Jamie DePetris from the Fossil campaign manager will be with me, and we'll have an interview with her at 7 o'clock, right? Wait, 7 o'clock?
7 p.m. The virtual town
hall
with Kevin L. Young.
Kevin L. Young, who's running for the 11th district.
Yes.
Right? So he's having a town hall right here. So that'll be kind of cool to see.
You definitely call in. We'll have a number
Yes.
while it's
We'll have
going
that set
on.
up.
You call in and ask your questions to Mr. L. Young, and I'm sure he'll answer them for you.
Yeah, he's prepared. We're ready to go. Please keep with us, Gorillas Inc., Citizens United, all of our other shows that we have. Goal Getters is coming up on Friday. We got all kinds of stuff happening. Stick with Gorillas Inc. and Citizens United. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night.